Welcome back. You are watching Real Talk with Dan with the Eastside Real Estate Team. And our last guest today is Mr. Doug Peterson with Get Priorities Straight. The last 20 years, Doug has been helping align people with their goals. He is the founder of Get Priorities Straight, founded in 2018 to provide a program that helps individuals maximize their personal income and improves their ability to invest. He founded and ran 8 businesses in his career. Doug has perfected the system that works regardless of industry, marital status, or income. He is currently working with Amazon managers, wealth managers, real estate professionals, attorneys, and technology professionals. Welcome to the show, Doug. What are we talking about today?
Well, people are going through lots of challenges. And the biggest thing we're talking about, and Sheila really hit on this, is what do you want to do? Would you like to have your money go where you want it to go? Or do you want to just wonder where it went? Because so many people don't pay attention to personal finances, but they want to build their business and they want to invest, but then they're just kind of too tired or just don't want to deal with it. And so what I really want to talk about today is just how do you build a financial foundation that allows you to work with Sheila and create the life you want and be able to afford Gina to be able to document the life you have. How about that? I just wrote that just now.
Wow, it's brilliant.
Yeah,
well done.
Like that.
So it's all about knowing where your money is going. And why is that so important?
It's amazing how much waste we have. If we were to look back and know exactly how much things cost, the trip we went on, how much we're going out to dinner, often we wouldn't make the same choice. But not knowing really makes a huge difference. The credit card companies found that people using credit spend 23% more because they really don't know. They're not looking at their checkbook, seeing if it's going to bounce. They're just borrowing money. So it's absolutely critical. If you have goals, and so many people have big goals, like I want to buy a house, I want to put my kids through college, I'd like to retire, we'd like to do some traveling, we'd like to remodel the house. You're not going to do all those at once. So you need to decide where you want your money to go and what do you want it to do and what's most important, and then be on the same page with your spouse.
Now, you said something in there about the credit card companies knowing, and one of my questions I have for you is, why do people spend so much more money on credit versus cash?
So I'd be curious if anybody has heard this before, but MIT Neurobiology Lab did a study on what chemicals are produced in the brain. And we all have probably heard about dopamine. So when you see something you want to buy and you're on Amazon and it's an impulse buy, or you're going through the checkout line, your brain produces dopamine. Well, when you actually take cash out of your wallet, and the study was with students and checking and determining this brain chemical, when they had to take money out of their wallet, seeing that it went down to $100 to $50, they created a chemical called insula. Insula kind of lowers the whole dopamine level and says, do I really want to buy this? When you use credit, insula is not created in your brain. In fact, not only have we not handed cash anymore, and we were kids, we'd trade marbles or trade something, Pokemon cards, depending on how old you are, and we'd trade something and we'd get something back. Well, then we'd give you the credit card and they'd swipe it and give it back to you, but that didn't create any insula. Now we just tap it. And we have subscriptions. Yeah. So people don't know how much money is going out the door. Oh, and by the way, if you buy a lot of stuff from Amazon, and a lot of people do, all it says on your credit card is Amazon. It doesn't tell you what you bought or where you bought it. So it's really critical to determine where your money's going, the first question, but also knowing how much you want to spend on something makes a huge difference on your choices. But you can't look back and change it. You have to know real time how much you got left in your entertainment budget, in your dining out budget, in your grocery budget. And it's funny too, when my wife, just as a side note, when my wife and I started doing this, and groceries is one of the toughest ones, believe it or not, we started actually going through the freezer and going through the cabinets and saying, I don't want to spend our entertainment budget on groceries. Let's see what we got.
What do we got? Yeah, that's actually brilliant. So what is the first step to kind of coming out of the dark with your finances per se?
So the very first step is you need to know where your money's going. And I use a program called YNAB, and it's very inexpensive. Everybody can do it themselves, or they can hire our company to do it and work with my team. but it's basically giving every dollar a job. It's the same program Dave Ramsey teaches, but Dave Ramsey teaches a program, they don't implement it for people. So it's really deciding, of all the money I have, I don't have savings, I don't have extra. I either have retirement, I have vacation, I have emergency fund, I have home repair, and it's just like time management. When you add up all the things you need to do during the day, there's not much time left. So if you add up everything you're already committed to, there's probably not going to be a lot of money left, and you need to fund the things that are important to you.
So
investing in real estate.
Yeah, of course, which is can be a perpetual opportunity of income to add more cash flow to your buckets, correct?
Absolutely.
So then, you know, not that this is anybody's marriage at all, but sometimes people aren't on the same page when it comes to how to allocate those buckets. What can people do if they find themselves in that odd situation? It's probably super rare.
Well, I think
I'm being sarcastic too, by the way.
Sheila has never run into anybody, and I don't think Gina has had any issues around money.
Right.
But the idea of taking it from a conversation that's a generality and an accusation or an opinion of we can't afford that, you're spending too much. Too much what? Afford what compared to what? It comes down to, well, we've already given every dollar a job. What bucket do you want to come out? Do you want it to come out of? Well, I don't want it to come out of my spending. Well, I don't want it to come out of my spending. Well, I don't want it to come out of Christmas. Well, I don't want it to come out of vacation. Maybe you don't want it if you can't figure that out. But it takes all the emotion out, or at least most of the emotion out. And you're talking about real things. So getting on the same page is knowledge. It's information. It's what Sheila shared. It's having a really clear vision of what you want. And we had a situation where we had bed bugs, and we had already burned through our emergency fund to $5,000, which, by the way, most people don't have. And she had to have a new bed. I'm a guy. Let's just put in a bed bug cover and save a lot of money. But I want to stay married. So where? And she said, vacation fund. I said, okay, it's worth staying married to use our vacation fund to buy a new bed.
Your vacation is a nice new bed. Nothing wrong with that.
And the feet come up and the head comes up. It's really cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there you go. So, so tell me a story about somebody that approached you in the last couple of months and how you've helped them.
I had an attorney talk to me about how they had been working for 14 years for an organization, started their own business, and just has slowly got behind. And they end up being $125,000 in debt at 24%. And we took a look at it, and their credit score was terrible. So what we did was we moved the unsecured debt into a secured HELOC, which they were able to do. Their credit score shot up 136 points. So we went from 25% down to 4.75%, then refinanced their house at 2.7% and saved them about $45,000. Now, the point of working together wasn't that. That was just another outcome because they didn't know where all their money was going. They were spending too much on the business and they were spending too much personally. And it wasn't painful to start living within their means. They just didn't know where it was going.
Yeah.
So it's amazing the impact we can have. Not everybody's like that. Some of them are just, all right, finally I can sleep at night. You know, I know we'll be okay.
Yeah. So give us a one super amazing, super secret tip, maybe something we haven't talked about on this show, that anybody watching the show could implement right now and start on their journey here.
You know, we see people either on the radio or we hear about them or we read about them and go, boy, I'd really like to hire them, but you can do this yourself. I can help people do it a lot faster, but the company, You Need a Budget, YouNeedABudget.com, YNAB. I tell everybody that can't afford me, just you can do this on your own, but it's work, and you're going to have to learn new behaviors, and you're going to have to spend a bunch of time to learn how to do this the way it's taught. But if you want, you know, one thing that could impact the largest population, I would say make a decision to know where your money goes before you spend it, and have that discipline to build a system in place. And I'd be happy to talk to anybody for a free visit just to talk about that more and what you could do. But I just think it's so critical. I went into this from doing mentoring for 20 years, because it was ruining health, it was ruining marriages, and it was ruining businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody like Sheila, in my opinion, Sheila, can't help you if you're just totally stressed out and on the edge. You just can't be self-actualized if you're in survival. So I would say that'd be the first step. And it starts out with the very first question. Know where your money's going. Most people don't want to look at it. It's usually not as bad, or it could be worse than you think. That's why people don't want to look at it.
It's true. I know for me, whenever I look at my life as a whole, I look at business, personal, spiritual, financial, and health, right? So each of these segments in my life, I'm constantly setting goals and trying to achieve and make my best self each time, you know, through growth. One thing that they show is like, if you put these kind of together in like this concentric circle and one of them's flat, that wheel kind of bumps along, you know? So, you know, by having, you know, maybe neglecting the financial while you're working, which it's not unheard of. Sometimes we just kind of do that. And I've really made a very conscious decision in my business life to actually hire professionals to implement bookkeeping and budgeting and stuff like that, so that I can look at my business and know what it needs to do to get healthier if it's not, you know, if it's not performing. And I think for me, this is a personal admission, but my finances at home were the last thing I started working on. And to be honest, if I had gone back and looked at it, I knew that they could be the first thing that I look at, because even though I can make money in my business, if it's never enough in my home, then I'm constantly going to be stressed out or trying to take away time from one to the other. So I want to encourage anybody out there watching this, if they want just that, like I said, a free consultation. Doug, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, my email address is doug@getprioritiesstraight.com. Phone number is 206-264-4424. Or you can go on my website and schedule from there. You can go on LinkedIn. Instagram is Let's_GPS. I'm on Facebook as well. So any of those are great ways. Or email Dan, because Dan's a great guy and he'll forward it to me.
Absolutely.
Hey, one other quick thing though, you talked about a great tip. Remember, money is just a form of exchange. And it's a form of exchange that we think is universal. But really what's universal is life energy. The amount of time you're spending earning that money, and then how quickly you're letting it go for stuff you don't even care about. It's really amazing. So why would you waste precious life energy on things you just don't care about? What's the old saying? To impress people you don't know that you don't like, or something.
That's
like
right. Yeah. Awesome.
I got that all wrong. Thanks,
that's about right. You work hard to spend a bunch of money on a bunch of things that you don't need to impress people that you probably don't like. It's never, I mean, because if they're only impressed by that and not your character, then you got a problem. So Doug, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it. All right.